excited about the history that's being made or the iconic venue that we're in right now. This is the first ever NCAA wrestling meet on UFC Fight Pass.
From Fort Liberty Army Base in Fayetteville, North Carolina, CFFC presents Match Day, the Battle at Liberty, here on UFC Fight Pass. It's a college wrestling doubleheader to kick off the season. Campbell collides with Army, and then it's North Carolina State. The Wolfpack square off against Presbyterian. Hello and welcome to the broadcast. I'm Shane Sparks alongside Olympic champion and now three-time world champion David Taylor. David, Kansas City's 143 days away, but it starts tonight. College wrestling is back.
It's exciting. I mean, this venue is electric. These kids are getting an opportunity to wrestle on UFC Fight Pass, reach a new audience, and they are excited. The coaches are excited. They get to work through their preseason jitters. They got there, get to shake hands, compete for the first time this season. And we're underway. Looking forward to it, Shane.
Well, as they say in the UFC, it's time. Doubleheader tonight with Army Kevin Ward in his 10th season. He's done a really good job there. He wrestled for John Smith at Oklahoma State, part of that John Smith coaching tree. 36 wrestlers he has led to the NCAA championships. And there's Scott Sentis, now in his 4th season as head coach. He was an assistant coach under Kerry Colat. They have won the Southern Conference 4 of the last 5 years. Last year, App State was able to get over the Camels. They are back, a super strong team up and down. A lot of good experience for Scott Sentis and the Camels. Great look at the venue, Fort Liberty. And here is the order. The matches will begin at 157 pounds. And for the Camels, David, those upper weights, 174 through heavyweight, there is all kinds of horsepower.
Yeah, their coaches are really excited about that. They think they can get off to a really good start here in the dual meet. There's been a lot of chitter back and forth on social media going into here. You know, who's America's team? We've been seeing that. So I know both coaches are excited to get out there. But ultimately, you know, it's the kids. They got to kind of step back, let the kids go out there and do what they do. And I'm excited to watch.
Coach Ward saying it's a young team, but they have some really good leaders, some really good examples in reinforcing the culture. Here to introduce our first match is Jason Lederfine. He's up on the wrestling.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Battle at Liberty. Tonight's officials, Neil Collins and Paul Krause. Our first match is the Army West Point Black Knights, their head coach Kevin Ward versus the Campbell Fighting Camels, head coach Scotty Sentis. We're live on UFC Fight Pass, CFFC Match Day. Introducing first at 157 pounds, representing Campbell, Chris Ernest. And his opponent representing the Army, Nate Lucas.
See Nate Lucas, one of the captains for Army, a senior from Gibsonia, Pennsylvania, Pine Ridgeland High School. Second season as a starter, 20-14 record a year ago. David, who's going to be the first guy that gets that 3-point takedown?
It's going to be interesting to see 3 points go up for a takedown. I think it's interesting. You get this first match of the season. You know, you're just making weight for the first time. You're just kind of the first time those 2-hour weigh-ins for these guys, and you can really see in the first minute of the match kind of who's going to take control of the center. You know, and I think that's something that right now these guys are kind of fighting the hand control. We saw a duck under attempt. Nice leg attack. He has his feet up off the ground here. Isolate. In these finishes, you want to get above the knee, right? When you're below the knee, the guy can really keep you away, like he's doing right now, doing a good job keeping him away.
Luquez with that single leg, staying patient, and there it is, the three-point takedown. Nate Luquez for the Black Knights.
It's a good adjustment. I think sometimes you get up there, you know, it's a drilling habit thing, and you panic, you step backwards. And a lot of times, as you're driving to your feet, you want to get that second hand above the knee, closes the distance, and you get that takedown. It's a good adjustment.
3-0 score. And now as they wrestle on the edge, gets an escape for Ernest. He's on the board. The Campbell wrestler now 3-1. Thoughts on the three-point takedown?
We'll see. You know, I think as we get moving forward, you know, we'll see how it kind of really affects the outcome of the match. I think people are excited to see more points on the board. I don't necessarily think more points on the board is always a reward for activity, but I do think it's going to change up the activity level, if that makes sense.
Luquez once again, similar position to where he scored his first takedown, again with a single leg. And there is the second takedown. Another new rule, David, is there is no reaction time on that touch. Similar, you know, you'd see that with the slide by. That is no longer the case. And I think that's good, makes it a little bit more understandable for the fans, takes away some of that confusion.
I think so. You know, I think the other one is kind of going back to like a traditional stall on top. So every time you drop down to the ankle, it's a count right away. And we saw that right there. So these right here in this first period, you know, these ride outs with a minute left in the period are huge. You know, one thing you always want to do as an athlete is you want to finish the period on top. That's huge. That means you scored the last action. But this has been a really good period here. You know, he's got two takedowns, but this is the second time he's kind of trying to follow in a scramble. And if we get a reversal here, it's going to really change the outcome of his first period. Trying to square up.
And he gets it. They're wrestling neutral inside of 10 seconds. So it's a 6-2 match with the two escapes. And you're right, those are those critical things. Find a way to win those 20 seconds. Get the escape. Finish those periods on top. The point save, point earn mentality. Every single second. Final seconds here in the first.
It just changes the momentum a little bit. You know, when you're going into the second period up 6-1 with two takedowns versus 6-2, this first 30 seconds of this period will be really big here. I think a lot of times you can tell if a guy's going to get a ride out in the first 30 seconds of the period. And a lot of times it's within the first 10 seconds of every whistle start. So every whistle start, you can see, you know, as a top wrestler, if you're focused on a mat return, you can ride him, right? Right here, first 10 seconds is a good job. Now we're in a good ride. He's in a good riding position. So every time a whistle starts, you want to think about that first 10 seconds. A lot of times it has the outcome on an escape or not.
And now he sucks him back.
One count.
He's going to work on top.
Doing a really good job. No near fall. He just missed out as far as near fall scoring. Now a 3-point near fall. We have 2-point near falls, 3-point near falls, and 4-point near falls. 2, 3, and 4 seconds, but doing a really good job, David, and when you're good in that top position, that's the neutralizer. It gets you back into a match after trailing 6-2 after the first.
It's big. You know, it's a confidence booster. First period, you know, Ernest got taken down 2 times, but gets the escape, right? The period he had given up riding time, but now he's getting riding time back, and he's active on top. These new back point rules having, you know, 2 count, 2 points, 3 count, 3 points, 4 count, 4. That's a huge reward to being active on top, and you can neutralize a significant amount of wrestling by getting these turns. So obviously right now the movement is, we want action on the mat, and right now Ernest is working really hard to get a turn. He hasn't quite got one yet.
Been able to ride him for the first minute 10 here in this second period. Ernest, he's a true freshman from Wadsworth, Ohio. As a junior, won an Ohio State title, beating his now teammate Winton Denkins. Was a runner-up last year as a senior, but I'm really impressed just in high school last year how good he is on top.
Yeah, he's doing a good job. He's working hard. He did a good adjustment, you know, on this trailer position. You want to get your elbow in the middle of the back, get a little more leverage right here. So if he can get his elbow in the middle of the back and kind of think about doing a curl, then he can punch his arm bar in.
Short time, 15 ticks in this second chapter. First match at 157 pounds. Doubleheader tonight. They're at Fort Liberty, kicking off this college wrestling season. And Chris Ernest rides Luquez the entire second period. And we'll go to the third.
I wouldn't be surprised if he takes top here. Going neutral.
No surprise there, but Luke has scored 2 takedowns in that first period. Quick shot there off the whistle. He's deep on a single. At waterfall position. Going to put him on a hip. And now if you're Ernest, trying to cut the corner.
If he can step over his back foot like he's doing, getting his foot over now, if you try and work over his opponent's head, you know, and getting his head up, that's the right decision. Now he almost wants to start sitting back towards his back, or towards his butt, and rotating in.
Funky position. A lot of pressure. Time ticking away. We're down to 1:10 here in this third. See the flexibility from Ernest. His older brother Jordan wrestled at Ohio University. Ernest's favorite athlete, Jason Nolf.
It's an exciting wrestler. If you're going to go wrestle after somebody, you know, Jason Nolf's one of the most electric wrestlers we've seen in college wrestling. So that's a good person to want to wrestle after.
Ooh, good level change.
Good job. Got to chase it, get above his knee. Similar position. Got to get above the knee, below the knees. A lot of scrambling that happens there.
A lot of pressure on that right knee.
Rolled his head out, stepped over the foot, get weight. He's got to get under his arms. Get under his arms. It's a takedown.
And he's got riding time at 38. There's the takedown.
A right out here ties the matchup.
6-5 match. Ernest with riding time at 47 seconds. 27 seconds to go in the match. He'll need the ride out to force sudden victory.
Here, I think with 20 seconds left, you know you're riding the guy out. You're going to go to overtime, but a turn wins it, and you are really good on tops from what we've seen so far.
Doing a nice job there, David. Good man awareness right there on the edge.
You know, a lot of time here with just keeping a foot in bounds. You know, that's an extra 5, 6, 7 seconds every time they're on the edge, and that adds up as matches go on. Gets the ride out. We're going to overtime. First match.
What a great way to start it, David. Yeah. We're on Fight Pass 6-6 to sudden victory. In this match, Lucas has had 2 takedowns. Ernest the 1. 2 minutes, sudden victory.
So Ernest has had a lot of success, you know, in the scramble positions. Oh, nice run around. Not return for a takedown.
And the true freshman from Wadsworth, Ohio, picks up his first victory in that Campbell singlet. What a match for Chris Ernest. He wins it 9-6. Incredible action.
Really good composure from the freshman. You know, just getting taken down twice in the first period. And getting the momentum of that escape right at the end of the first period, I think was a big momentum changer. Really hard, ride out, take down, tie it up, ride out, take down, overtime, run around. You know, I just think those are things that definitely the coaches, they work on those scenarios and practice all the time, and his very first match goes out and executes.
Here's some highlights, David. Here is Lucas. He got to his offense with a couple of takedowns.
Yeah, these first 2 takedowns by Nate were great. You know, he just did a good job of getting above the knee, getting a solid finish. I mean, the momentum was really in his direction, and then that escape at the end of that first period was a really big, it really changed the outcome of this match.
You said it before, just showing a lot of poise and maturity as a true freshman. Just stayed patient, just didn't panic. Tail of the tape, our next match coming up at 165 pounds. Pits Baker and Harkins. Let's send it to Jason Liederfine. He's up on the Resolites, set to make the introduction for this match at 165 pounds.
And his opponent from the Army Black Knights, Dalton Harkins.
Dalton Harkins makes his way up on the stage. His third season as a starter from Westchester, Pennsylvania, wrestled at Melbourne Prep in Melbourne, PA. Won the Ironman, won the Beast, was a national prep champion. 18-14 a year ago, 6th in the EIWA, and just looking to put it all together, David, and make that next step. And it's a big difference between high school and Division I wrestling.
Nate Lauder's a coach at Malvern Prep, and he does a great job. You know, he's one of those guys that, I mean, you look at a program, you look at a high school like Malvern Prep, and like, oh, it's a prep school, people move in there and they're really good. No, coach does a really good job. He starts those kids at the elementary level and he develops them all the way up. He's involved at every level of that Malvern Prep program. He does a great job. You know, they have a lot of kids right now that are in college kind of coming through his system. So he does a really good job. You know, the kids are going to be prepared to wrestle in college. They wrestle a really good high school schedule. And they're battle tested because they wrestle, you know, in the PJW system when they're in, you know, as they're younger growing up through, and then they get the prep schedule when they get into high school. So I would expect the Malvern Prep's kids to be pretty solid all around.
Hard snap there from Baker, the sophomore from New Kent, Virginia. The 2022 Win Magazine Virginia Wrestler of the Year, was 12-14. Last year named to the SoCon All-Freshman team. We're scoreless with 1:50 left during this first period. Level change duck under attempt there from Harkins.
My heart's still racing a little bit from the first match.
That was a great match.
Way to get it kicked off. You know, I really like, I'd like to see the guys going out and scoring points. I think when you look back, you know, Lucas coming off, you know, losing that match 9-6, you know, there's a lot of really good things to take out of that match. He had a really good first period, and it's just, you know, obviously closing it. You know, I think that's the coach you're going to have the conversation with them about how do we kind of close that match off. But one thing that's hard as a coach is, you know, both coaches are probably thinking about that last match and, you know, what could be doing different, but now they got to refocus into this match. You know, so probably the best thing for both coaches is that this match didn't start off really fast, right? Because you almost need a chance to kind of recalibrate.
Thrown into the fire.
Recalibrate a little bit, you know, and now kind of refocus, and they can now refocus in their athletes here.
50 seconds scoreless here in this first.
Harkins had a couple really good attacks, but he hasn't really covered ground yet. You know, they've been level changes, duck, under a throw by. Those are good low-risk attacks to kind of see where your opponent's at. But here with, you know, under a minute left, it's probably, you know, really want to go cover ground, right? You kind of want to think about that whole knee over toe penetration. Go cover ground. And Lucas did a great job of that in the first match, just executing his finish in the third period. You know, kind of made a little bit of difference there. But sometimes when those exchanges aren't working, you got to go cover ground.
Just 20 seconds. See if one of these two guys pulls the trigger late. With that three-point takedown, you put 3 on the board in the final 15, 20 seconds and get a ride out. You put yourself in really good position.
I was on Super 32 a couple weekends ago, and they executed the three-point takedown, you know, the toughest preseason high school tournament in the country. And it was a big difference maker. You know, takedowns in the period, it was different. But I'll tell you what, you're never out of a match. You know, we had an athlete was losing 7-0, and was getting in the opportunity to get a takedown in the second period, and went down. So now you're down 7-4 in the third period. It's only one takedown match.
Yeah.
So you go from losing 7-0, almost a major decision, to being right back in the match. So it's in your head. I think it's something that these athletes are going to have to really practice, the scoring situations, because they're different. You know, when you think 2-point takedowns, you're more out of the match in a scenario like that. With 3-point takedowns, you know, 2 takedowns, it's a 5-point exchange. So it's a big difference. You got to kind of rethink about the scoring and how much you up, how much you down, and what it's going to take to get back in the matches.
Harkins starting this period on bottom, and Baker off this restart is 23 seconds of riding time. We saw Ernest in that top position. Baker looking for that mat return as they roll out of bounds. In talking to Coach Ward, he said Harkins has all the skills, super talented, just got to let it fly a little bit. Trust himself and don't protect anything. Just go out and wrestle. Give yourself a chance to win matches. Open up a little bit.
I mean, I'd say that's a story of so many wrestlers.
Sure.
You know, so many wrestlers. You know, and I think you never want your best wrestling to be in the practice room. You know, you want your best wrestling to be out here. You know, when you're representing your team, you're representing your country, that's where you want your best wrestling to happen. And that's the biggest thing. You know, wrestling's a tough sport. But that comes with experience. You know, and a lot of times when you're wrestling really tight, you're probably thinking a little bit too much about winning. And I think if you can just focus on just scoring the next point. Just score the next point. If you get scored on, score the next point. And before you know that, you can loosen up, and now you're executing Your instincts are kicking in. It's hard. It's a very hard thing to do to just try and win every single match because your margin of error is small. So the more points that you can score and create, ultimately I think the more opportunities you have to score as well.
Harkins leading at 1-0. 35 ticks left in this second period. Match day here on UFC Fight Pass. Shane Sparks alongside Olympic champion and 3-time world champion David Taylor. We're back to the center. 25 seconds. I talked about it before, David, the short time scoring, the urgency.
This next 20 seconds, I feel like if one wrestler, one way or the other, could just really commit and get a takedown, I feel like it would probably determine the match. But it looks like they're both kind of content to just go into the period 1-0. But, I mean, those are, for wrestlers watching at home, those make up your mind. When you're doing those short time situations in practice, coach says score 20 seconds left. Simulate 20 seconds left in a period, right? And understand, and if I get a takedown with 20 seconds left in the second period, how much that changes going into the third period, right? In every period that you can. But I felt like right there, if either wrestler would have really executed a takedown, it would have really changed the match. Where now it's kind of still in that situation where either one could win this match. It's going to be determined, who has the best 2 minutes here in the third period.
Baker starting on bottom. He escaped in the second period. Neither one of these guys has had a real threatening attack from their feet up to this point. Baker working up. And we are 1-1.
Harkins, decides to kind of let him go. It's like, hey, we're gonna take downs inside this match. He's come close a couple times, but I think his fake snap has been pretty effective, but I think he's gonna have to follow that up with something. It's gonna be a fake snap, 2 shots in a row, 3 attacks in a row, stringing what's his best scoring sequence. We haven't really seen a lot of offense from Baker so far, but he's in the match, right? Similar to the last match, you're in the match, and a takedown's gonna probably win here.
Talking to Coach Sentes, said Baker's made some really good adjustments. Just in a better situation here as a sophomore. Learned a lot last year dealing with the peaks and valleys of your first year in a college room. But a very high ceiling and shown more of an increased love for the sport. That first year is tough. What was the most difficult for you when you think back to your freshman year in that wrestling room?
That was one of my first practices. I'll never forget it. I got beat up, and I remember I remember the practice like yesterday. I tell a story. I didn't score any points. A guy that been known to score a lot of points. And I didn't get any takedowns that day. And it was one of those days where it's like 1st to 6 takedowns, find a new partner. 1st to 6 takedowns, find a new partner. And I got beat up again. And I just remember going. There's a back hallway in rec hall. And I remember going back, sitting back there and just crying for an hour straight. Called my dad. I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make it here, But we all go through it. And it's just sometimes that adversity, sometimes you find a way to figure it out or you don't. And every single freshman, no matter how skilled you are coming out of high school, you go through it. And it's just part of that adjustment period. You just wrestling strong, mature men. And technique is good, but you kind of got to start tapping into the willpower, the kind of toughness thing, and you got to match that. And I think the quicker you figure that out, the more success you can have in college.
We went to set and victory at 157 pounds, and we will do the same here at 165. Both guys with an escape. 1-1 as they toe center mat and set in victory. Here we go. A lot of hand fighting, both guys heavy with the hands.
Baker's got a nice little snap. He's tried it a couple of times where, like one of those little kind of wrist snaps, throw-bys. He's tried it a few times. I think both guys are looking kind of for similar techniques. But again, I think it's going to come down to if one of these guys decides to go cover ground on a leg attack, just your basic high crotch single leg, first day wrestling practice techniques, get your hands locked on the leg. I think it's going to be a big difference maker. Neither guy really committed to attack like that so far. We got a minute and 20 here left in overtime.
Harkins had that front headlock earlier, now collar tie. Tried an inside trip a little while back. He's moving forward.
There we go.
There's a
I
nice
see.
shot.
Doubling off, hide your feet, got to hide your feet. Good roll through.
Great scramble.
A lot of times, who can get elevation here? Who can get high? Who can get the foot up by their head? Who can keep their feet on the ground? That's what both guys are looking for. You want to keep your feet planted, and whoever can get the feet off the ground usually can make the difference here.
And 3 takedown awarded to Dalton Harkins as the break comes in from Scott Sentis.
That goes back to what you talked about, right? No reaction time this year, and I think there's always, in a new period, in a new, when the new rules, there's always an adjustment, right? And I think even though there's no reaction period, there's still a time when we're still wrestling, you know? So here we go. We got a first challenge of the match, and we'll see. You know, it's we'll see what they decide. It was a good scramble. You know, I think we saw first real penetration.
All right, can you hear me?
Touch. Double
think
cross
so.
and got a scramble, and you know, who got the feet off the ground elevated.
And in a dual meet, each team gets 1 challenge. If you win the challenge, you get the brick back. If not, you are out of challenges for the remainder of the dual meet. That's Scott Sentis, along with Win Mahalik. Win Mahalik was a 4-time MAC champ, 3-time All-American, NCAA runner-up at 197 back in 08. Fell to Phil Davis. Get a look at Harkins there, taking a little water as they continue to review. If it stands, we'll be 3-3 in this dual meet.
Reviews are tough as an athlete. You know, you just get through this sequence where you think you got the takedown, you think maybe you didn't get taken down, and you're just kind of standing there, and you're just the suspense. You know, like what happens? Did I get it? Am I still in the match?
And in this case, David, it's even more than that. It's did I win the match? I mean, right now, if you're Harkins, I mean, you got to be careful there, right? Because you feel like you won the match, but you can't quite go to that spot mentally. Here's another look on that replay. And the call on the mat stands. It is a takedown for Dalton Harkins. Campbell wins 1 in sudden victory. Army returns the favor, and after 2 matches, it is 3-3 on the team scoreboard.
It's a great job. You know, Harkins was close to getting taken down and did a good job of continue wrestling, rolling through, past the leg, and was able to get his feet established, got his opponent's feet off the ground, hit his ankles, and got that takedown. And there's that no reaction time. We're 2 matches in, the new rules taking effect.
£174 is next.
£174 from Campbell University, Austin Murphy. And his opponent, representing the Army Black Knights, Gunnar Filipowicz.
Gunnar Filipowicz, a freshman from Alpharetta, Georgia, Woodward Academy. Won a couple of Georgia State titles, was an NHSCA finalist. Brother Jackson on the Army football team. And Austin Murphy, a grad student from Cincinnati, Ohio, Elder High School. Multiple-time state place winner. He redshirted last season. Back in 2022 as a SoCon runner-up, finished 12-5.
Nice shot on the whistle. Good scramble.
I like the purpose off the whistle.
Yeah, I like that. We're 10 seconds in the match, first scramble, just kind of setting the tone.
Absolutely.
I think, you know, don't be discouraged, right? Even though, Austin gets a nice double leg and doesn't get the takedown, don't be discouraged from getting right back to that action again.
And this is where Campbell is really good. These upper weights, mentioned Win Mahalik earlier, the job he does with these upper weights at Campbell. And Murphy, in 2021, he made the blood round in St. Louis. He was the 11th seed, also won the SoCon title. So they are glad to have him back. One of the anchors in the upper weights.
We can just see his demeanor. I think of the last kind of 2 matches, his demeanor looked a little different when he shook hands. Just looked kind of like he had a good plan. Came out, pulled off the 2-on-1, and then boom, double leg. So probably a little too excited. A little too excited on his finish. But Flipowitz did a really good job with his scrambling out of that takedown, and now we're back on our feet. Got our kind of first blood time. Now it's good. You get that first adrenaline. You get out there. You get that scramble. Your heart's racing, and now you get a chance to kind of settle back down and then get back into your game plan.
Do you tell yourself, David, the same thing every time right before you toe the line?
Yeah, for the most part. I always try to keep it simple. My kind of little sequence is, move my hands, move my feet. Nobody can match my pace. Real simple, and just it's kind of wild in wrestling. Right before you step out there, sometimes you get some crazy thoughts going through your head. Am I prepared? Am I in shape? How is my weight cut? Boom, 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 and you can easily start going down a negative track. So I think you want to keep it simple. You want to keep it positive, something that reaffirms things that you're going to go do. And that's every athlete's a little bit different. You just want to kind of get out there, and the less you think, the more you're doing, the better it is. The more you're thinking, the less you're doing. It's going to make it a little more difficult on yourself.
No score, 110 into this first period. First two matches set in victories. These guys wrestle forehead to forehead. Filipowicz, high output guy, makes some mistakes, but he makes them going 100 miles an hour. That's what Coach Ward told us, and as I say that, he dives in, but caught underneath. Underhook there from Murphy on the right side.
That was some good wrestling. Good leg attack, just good baseline defense. Just sprawling, sliding off the lock, and then just got a little too excited, think he's going to throw him to his back versus just running around him and getting your takedown. But again, I think both guys exchanging. You want to see your athlete shoot and recover, right? You don't want to shoot, put your head down, and get spun behind. You don't ever want to give up a go behind. So, taking that attack, that's good, and then he wrestled out of it. And I think that's awesome. I think you can tell a lot. A lot of times with athletes that are willing, if they shoot, put their head down, willing to give up a go behind, that's a tough thing to, from a momentum shift of a match. So both guys now have had good leg attacks. The other guys have wrestled out of it. It's been a good, solid start to this match.
See Murphy ranked 30th in the country. 174 pounds, of course, led by Penn State's Carter Starachi, who will look to win his 4th national title. Chris Foca of Cornell is ranked 2nd. Followed by Makai Lewis of Virginia Tech, Shane Griffith now of Michigan, and Edmund Ruth of Illinois, 174. David, those top 5 guys, with Starachi, Lewis, and Griffith, all national champs.
It's a tough weight class. Nice shot on the whistle.
Looking for a neck wrench. Takedown from Murphy.
See, that's where the no reaction time is. It is so tough because, there it's, that's so good wrestling,
Murphy works up with that single, looking for a trip. Good balance from Filipowicz. Good defense, fighting the hands of the camel.
So I feel like this is stalling on green, right? I feel that, there we go. Because you still, obviously we have all these new rules that you have, but there's still traditional stalling, right? You have a leg up in the air for 20 seconds.
One escape.
Your duty on top is to return that guy, right? So I think that was the right call, but there was so much that was happening there. I was just kind of trying to watch and process it, but it was kind of going back to the no reaction time. It's tough, and I saw the Army coaches really thinking about throwing the brick. It's a hard brick to throw. I don't think you're going to win it, but I also don't really know if it's a takedown either, But it's just when there's a new rule like that, there's always a little bit of an over adjustment, and then there's a little bit of a correction period. And I would think this year we're probably going to see a little correction in that.
Murphy leading at 3-1. And here's another look at the takedown for Murphy. What do you like here, David?
We're still wrestling. I don't know. I don't know. It's close. It's probably. I always like to reward the offensive guy, so I lean to the takedown there, but it's really close. But Gunnar did a really good job if he just didn't stop wrestling. I think if he pauses there, it's definitely a clear takedown. But gave himself a chance. If the referee's a little more patient, we're looking at a stalemate probably.
And just to clarify on the reaction time, there is reaction time. The only time there used to not be reaction time was on that hand touch, but now even with that.
But I think with that, the clarity of it, because I think we've seen 2 here where it looks like there's a clear looking at the hand on the ground, because I think in both scrambles they've both been very similar where the hand's on the ground and it looks like the thought process is, that there's That's a takedown.
Okay.
To me, it
Sure.
looks like, right? Just from casual watching here, because it's hard to say, like, there's no rear standing reaction time. There is reaction time here. It kind of just all blends together when you're in the heat of the moment a little bit.
It goes quick.
I don't know. What do you think? What are your thoughts? You watch a lot of college wrestling.
I'll tell you what I think, David. I think these officials are really good.
Yeah.
I think they're really, really good because they get one look at it in real time. They got to make a
1
split
point
decision.
escape.
And we get to watch this stuff, get to watch some replays, and
Being
obviously don't have the
official's
pressure that they do.
Being official is hard.
It is.
I mean, because you're getting critiqued on every single thing that you make, every call that you make, right? It's easy for me to sit here and say, I don't know if it's a takedown, or maybe it is, maybe it isn't, But they got to make it in real time, and you don't want to be constantly always second guessing. You kind of have to have conviction in what you're doing. I'm just a proponent of action, right? I want to see action.
Award the score.
Or
the aggressor, rather.
Ultimately, you want to reward the offensive guy.
So Filipowicz, couple of escapes, 1 point match. 1:15 here in this second period. 3-3. Each team has won a match. Campbell and Army will be followed by North Carolina State and Presbyterian. Pat Popolizio and the Wolfpack, NWCA coaches poll ranked 3rd. We're inside of a minute here in the second period. Double overs there from Murphy.
Murphy's executed a couple really good snap downs. I think as this match is progressing, as we get into the second period and the third period, if he can look to capitalize on that snap down, whether it's just wearing on your opponent in a front headlock, looking to run to a leg, guy pops up, look for your re-attack. And I think Gunner adjusting to that snap, maybe follows the snap into a leg attack, or just being aware, obviously not just pop straight up in front of him, as you start to get a little more fatigued as the match goes on. But I think that's been a key area so far. Looks like that could be a scoring situation as we get here in the third period.
Second period is in the book.
These have been great matches.
After 2, Murphy leads 3-2.
So Murphy with the 1 point lead will go on bottom.
This is kind of got to make this is a crunch time decision. So decides to cut him right away. You got 43 seconds riding time, so you kind of make that decision. Am I really good on top? Can I really turn this guy? Right, you got to kind of make that decision. Am I going to try and wear the clock down a little bit and then cut him? Or do I want to give myself a full period to go get this takedown? Give himself a full period. Nice leg attack. You want to stay on one leg here.
Okay.
You want to stay on one leg. When you split
dump him to a hip.
When you split to 2 legs, you're just open to, obviously there's just more options the defensive guy has.
He's got that ankle scooped up. Now he's just got to clear his head.
You kind of want to make a V. You want to get above his knee. You want to push it off of your head. And you also think about putting him in danger because that's another factor.
Yes, if he puts him at a 90-degree angle, that neutral danger zone call.
Doing a hamstring curl with his leg, hamstring curl, and starts sitting back, putting him in danger. So starts putting him in danger because the danger count comes into effect, and now you're not thinking so much. You can start clearing the head. This is not a position you want to stalemate when you're this deep in on a leg attack, and it looks like it's trending in that direction.
You want to capitalize here if you are Filipowicz. Take down here, you take the lead. 1:05 left in this third period, and Murphy, really good job there. Good defense, crunches them, and forces that stalemate. David, you said it. Those are certain positions you got to capitalize there. You're in really good shape to finish.
Yeah, but you want to get, now you can't really think about it, right? You got to compartmentalize it. That's gone. You got a minute left. I need to take down to win this match. Murphy did a really good job of staying patient and staying calm. He didn't over-wrestle the position. He did a good job of keeping his legs from getting hooked and tied up. And he still got the lead here with 45 seconds left. He did get a stalling call at the end of that first period, so
got to circle. You got to be careful here.
Got to be careful here.
But even the one stall call, it'd be just 4-3.
Yeah, and that's where the new takedown rule doesn't even, it's fairly irrelevant, right? Takedown's going to win it one way or the other here.
Just 25 seconds left. Another shot there from Filipowicz, but a straight on shot. Attacks that left wrist of the Camel. If you're Murphy, want to circle back in, but time ticking away down to 15 seconds. Austin Murphy, the 30th ranked 174-pounder in the country, gets the decision 4-2
Team score
over
Campbell
Gunnar
6,
Filippowicz.
Army 3.
And the Camels reclaim the lead on the team scoreboard. That decision makes it 6-3.
Going back here to the takedown here. Gets a takedown. Gets hit for stalling here, right? Kind of not Matt returning him. Quick escape here on the bottom. Talking about kind of that first 10 seconds being focused. It kind of determines a lot of times if you can get ridden or not. Did a good job. This is right here. This is the match in this position. He had that single leg elevated, had him on his hip, had the leg hook. I mean, 90% of the way there, but that last 10% is just sometimes that's drilling habits. Sometimes that's just you got to find a way to get the takedown, and he's going to look back and want to make some adjustments there.
3 close matches, Campbell winning 2 of the 3 here at Fort Liberty. Your eyes are not playing tricks on you. That is an airplane. That's where the 2 wrestlers are coming out here in this hangar at Fort Liberty. And there you look at the matchup, a ranked matchup, 20-13 here at 184 pounds.
Our next bout at 184 pounds from Campbell University, Caleb Hopkins. And his opponent from the Army, Ben Pazook.
Ben Pazook, Ohio native, 4-time finalist and a state champion. 3-time NCAA qualifier at 174. He's up to the new weight class. He was 23-7 last year. Went 1-2 at the NCAA tournaments. Should be a good matchup right here with Pazook and Hopkins. They call Hopkins the Alaskan Assassin. We'll see his brother at 197, Levi Hopkins.
Well, year on paper, we got, wrestling 2 guys in the top 20. This match here in the beginning of the year is big. These matches can make a huge difference when you're talking about getting a wild card into the national tournament, right? You're thinking about talking about seeding at the national tournament. So this is both guys, kind of probably circling this on paper, like, hey, this is a match I want to be ready for right off the bat. Yeah, every match counts, right? But you got 2 guys in the top 20 coming this season, the 2 guys that are right in the mix. So this is one that both wrestlers want to walk away with the win here. So it when you're wrestling a guy that you're pretty close with, a lot of times, if you can go out and just sort of just push the pace and make him feel a little bit uncomfortable early, even if you're not scoring, it can change the way it is. Versus if I go and kind of stand around and I do a whole period of feeling out my opponent, you lose a period of wrestling. So, I think you want to kind of still close match. You want to make the guy feel uncomfortable. You don't want to put yourself obviously in any bad situations, but you also want to kind of start setting that tone as early as you can.
Fayetteville, North Carolina, Fort Liberty Army Base. Shane Sparks, David Taylor, glad to have you aboard. Opening nights of the college wrestling season. Another shot there from Pazook.
He's been firing.
Yes, he has.
Stay on one leg here. A lot of times when you have a single leg, once you stay on one leg until you can shelf it or isolate it. Once you can shelf or isolate the leg, then you can switch to 2. You know, and I think very similar position to what, you know, where we were in the last match. So similar. Again, don't forget about putting your opponent in danger. That's a big threat, right? Because nobody wants to go to their back. And the danger rule is a real thing, right? They're going to start counting. It's a different level of defense. So if you can put the guy in danger, your finish doesn't even have to be that clean, but they're going to react differently. That's 2 times in a row Army wrestlers have been in situations right there, very similar position, leg hooked, close to scoring. You know, that's something where,
that's a position they'll be working on in the room for sure.
Coach Ward is going to probably circle that, and they're probably doing some reps this week in that position.
Pazuch is a freshman in 2021, an EIWA champion for the Black Knights. Was 3rd at the tournament in 2022 and a runner-up last March. We're scoreless, 40 seconds left here at 184.
Pazuch's had a good first period, though.
A lot of activity.
Yeah, a couple good leg attacks, talking about pushing that pace. He's been in control and safe and definitely dictating the pace. You know, another shot in a row. You know, when you're taking shots too, you know, you want to shoot and you want to always clear back into good position. You know, you don't want to get in a habit of shooting and clearing where you're standing up, turning your back to somebody, because now you're leaving yourself vulnerable to a re-attack. You know, so especially as you get to the end of a period, you don't want to dictate a whole period and then give up something at the end and just by maybe not being focused all the way through. But overall, I think really good period. You know, talked about that kind of close ranking match, going out dictating that pace, and I think Pazuch did a really good job doing that.
So Hopkins with the choice, he'll defer. And Pazuch wants to stand on his feet and go neutral. Hopkins, a 2-time NCAA qualifier for the Camels, a SoCon champion. So a really good matchup here. Guys that have won their respective conference tournaments in their career, national qualifiers, a lot of experience. And you said it before, David, important match to start up the season because this one could have some implications. And here's Hopkins. He's got a single leg.
In the crackdown position, getting cracked down, you want to hook this ankle, you want to get that near ankle off the ground. That near ankle is the one that you're going to be pushing and scooting off of. So if you can hook that ankle and elevate it, start putting him in danger, start getting your shoulder up his chest and up his sternum, start to put him in danger. Did a good job. Footwood's getting back to baseline and he kind of bailed out. So nice job. One thing I've noticed so far is I feel that the mat wrestling advantage is going to Campbell.
For sure.
You know, and even there, you know, they took neutral and not bottom. You know, to not take bottom, you're giving up a free point.
And then when you pick neutral and the guy takes you down,
I mean, yeah, that's tough. You know, and now and the Campbell guys, they're good on top, but they're working for turns. You know, they're running. You know, early in the match with Ernst, right, the freshman, you know, he worked hard on top. And, you know, now we got a leg in,
arm bar,
working for the arm bar, bar and wrist. You know, cross body ride. This wears on you because it's like a wet blanket, right? It's like you're doing a weighted push-up. You got a guy on top of you. You're doing a weighted push-up for the whole period. This is a really good period. Really good period by Campbell. Hopkins.
And one thing with Hopkins, David, you know where his strength comes from? Him and his brother are salmon fishermen. About 100,000 pounds of salmon with these guys. Strong hands, strong backs.
I like salmon. I got to talk to these guys.
That's what I was thinking.
Go out and fish with them.
But he gets the takedown and takes riding time over 1:10, finishes the period on top. That's about as good as it gets if you're Campbell.
Yeah. Now the match, you're really in control here. You take bottom, you're up 4-0 with riding time.
And now you're thinking about a major, David.
And I think that's a big thing to think about, right? You're not at this point, you know, I'm sure the coaches are thinking about that, but you know, as the athlete, not just trying to win this match, right? Because you think about, okay, I'm ranked 20, this guy's ranked 13. I can solidify myself moving forward conference-wise by finishing this match on top of another takedown in a major decision versus standing around, trying to survive, winning by a point, skate, because then you don't feel good about the good things you've done so far.
You can feel good with the win. You can feel great with a major decision.
Yeah, but in bonus points, right? You're thinking about your team. You know, Campbell believes strongly in their upper weights, right? That they have a lot of, you know, they feel strongly about that. So, you know, you want to maximize your opportunities here. You want to obviously, yeah, you're in control of winning this match. You're up 5-0 right now. Takedown's a major. That's an extra team point, right? You can build around that, and I think that's huge. You know, kind of step in and you start to kind of become a little bit of a leader in a match like this. That's something that you can really rally on moving forward.
And at the same time, David, Pazuch down by 4, couple takedowns with that 3-point takedown. He can get right back into this match as well. He's not done yet.
No,
but he's got to get going.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, just trying to talk about on the guy kind of extensively, but hey, if you're losing, you got to go, right? And I think you see that a lot. It's an urgency thing. Sometimes you got a minute left. You got to wrestle like you're down by 5 with a minute left. That means you got to be firing shots. You got to be putting 2 or 3 things together. There we go, shot on the whistle. Nice, good finish. Hide your feet. And then just now we're in the scramble again. Get this position to watch the guy's knees. Got to really protect yourself here.
Probably going to get a stalemate here, and there it is. But I like what Pazook did right there, right off the whistle.
Yeah, right back to it again.
50 seconds left here in this third period at 184. There's a shot from Hopkins, and if nothing else, David, right here, going to take some time off the clock. But he's in position to score here with a takedown, maybe get that major decision.
Doing a good job with his crackdown.
Gonna drive through and gets the takedown.
Keep returning, keep this above the guy's knee and attack. He secures the back points here at the end of this match and really finish with some really good momentum for your team. But one way or the other, it's weird. You can see this match is going to probably end up 8-0 in the major, but it was close to starting to go the other way. If Pazook executes that takedown
with the whistle, changes everything.
It's so crazy with this 3-point takedowns. You're going from a 1-point match to a major decision. It's kind of crazy what it's doing, but hey, it's a really good win here by Hopkins.
Caleb Hopkins gets that major decision. He's fired up. 4 on the board for Campbell. The Campbell's leading 10-3.
It's interesting. You see a score of the match, right? You look at the end of the day, you have the box score 8-0, major decision. But that match was close.
It was close.
Pazook was firing in the first period, close to getting the takedown, doesn't get it. Takes neutral instead of going down, gets taken down. It's so crazy how matches work like that. It's one takedown one way or the other, but that's wrestling for you.
He gets that single leg. You see that strength.
Hopkins did a really good job. He cracked down finish on both sides of the body. He did a single leg, rolled his head out to a left hand high crotch and finish crackdown, and he finished with a traditional right hand crackdown here at the end of the match. Those are just a gritty takedown. Those are just go get the takedown, I love seeing those kind of takedowns. It's bumping here.
Some good energy here. The updated team score. Campbell has won 3 of the 4 matches, but they've all been competitive. Turn the page to 197 pounds. As I mentioned, Levi Hopkins, the brother of Caleb Hopkins, who just got that major decision.
Our next bout at 197 pounds from Campbell University, Levi Hopkins. And his opponent, representing the Army Black Knights, Danny Lawrence.
Danny Lawrence for the Black Knights, getting an opportunity for the first time in his career to be the guy, to be that starter. Coach Ward said this is a guy you can depend on, just a very reliable worker, lots of effort. He's going to fight every second he's inside that circle.
Well, I think, for Lawrence here, this is a big match, obviously, for the team and just even for himself, right? So you're as an opponent, top 30 guy in the country. You can put yourself right into that top 30 mix with a win here. But also, as an athlete, you're standing back there. The team, these matches have been coin flip, right, one way or the other. They've been very close. Your team's kind of be coming out on the bottom side. Well, yeah, you go out, get this takedown, and kind of put things back in the momentum of your team. And really good scramble. And no takedown.
Credit Hopkins. I like that was good wrestling at both guys. Lawrence gets behind him. Hopkins with the roll, creates the scramble.
Looked like for a second there he was maybe going to get the takedown, but ultimately we're back to our feet, scoreless 40 seconds in. And Coach Sentis says when it comes to Levi Hopkins, high-scoring matches. He may give up some points. You talked about it before, David. That's okay. Go out there and wrestle, create wrestling positions, trust your skill set, trust your offense, and let it go.
Well, the best way to learn how to wrestle is you make mistakes. You know, if you're out there and you're afraid to make mistakes, I mean, it's just you're wrestling in a really high-stress environment. If you can relax your mind and know that you can make some mistakes and wrestle out of them and score points, that comes in practice, right? If you're willing to make mistakes in practice, you're going to learn, right? But also making mistakes, the right mindset that, okay, I made a mistake, got scored on. I'm not okay with that. I'm going to find a way to figure it out next time. I'll put myself right back in there. And some guys can do that in competition as well. You know, ultimately, you're always going to pull back a little bit in competition, probably from what you do in practice. But if you're letting it rip in practice, you're more likely to let it rip in competition. So already we kind of saw that. But I would like to I'd like to see Lawrence kind of get back onto the offense right away with that nice slide by, almost gets the takedown. I think it kind of, this first, you're really close, but don't be discouraged. Just because the guy scrambled out of the takedown, don't be discouraged to still go get this first period takedown.
Just over a minute remaining here in this first period. Hopkins, 25-10 last season. Stood atop the podium at the SoCon Championships, qualified for the NCAA tournaments in Tulsa. Straight on shot there from Hopkins. Caleb and Levi Hopkins from Alaska, Palmer, Alaska. Dad's a wrestling coach, Todd. Half a minute here in the first. We will sound like a broken record, David. Short time scoring. You know what you do when you get short time scoring? You take away somebody's hope. Destroy their will.
That was a nice re-attack. Keeping his head up, keep the foot isolated again. I think, nice. He just goes a little elbow hook, puts him in danger. Hide your feet. Short time left.
Good scramble to close the period. Scoreboard remains 0-0.
I liked Hopkins' attempt of hooking the elbow and trying to roll through, but with short time left, probably a little better suited to just.
He was looking for the big play.
Yeah, I think shelfing the leg and getting the takedown, but obviously looking back, probably a little better decision there, but. Again, talk about, he's obviously put himself in a lot of scoring situations, and that's not going to be the last one of the match. He's going to put himself back in there again.
And a quick escape, those quick escapes, so critical. Took him 7 seconds. He's got the escape. Beats it 1-0.
10-second restarts. I mean, just think about how many matches and you see escapes in the first 10 seconds, and if you see a guy really dedicate a ride, also it's a mentality on top. If you get on top and you're like, man, I'm willing to ride this guy, you're willing to fight that first 10 seconds. But a lot of times you see a guy gets to his feet, let him go. But and the same thing on bottom. I just think every wrestler start, that first 10 seconds plays typically a big role on it if you're going to ride the guy or they're going to get away from you. And a lot of times it's just a mindset thing. It's not super technical. It's just like, I'm going to wrestle hard, I'm not going to escape the first 10 seconds. Is this guy going to quit or keep wrestling?
Who was the guy that you wrestled that was just tough to ride?
In high school, Jamie Clark was really hard. I look back at all the people and I wrestled in my career, one of the hardest guys. Wrestling on top was a big advantage for me, and he was one guy every single time I went in the match in my career, like thinking about my entire career, I didn't ever know if I could ride him. And that was always comes to mind. And in college, I had to work, when I was with Derek St. John, he was a guy that, they were always very gritty, really gritty matches. He just kind of always hustled to his feet and just stayed really baseline. And he was a guy that I don't think I ever got turns on him. And as the match went on, he did a good job making adjustments. And he was a guy that typically had to work really hard to ride.
10 seconds, second period, wrestling neutral. Late in the period, Hopkins got that quick escape. Could be some fireworks here in the final seconds. But we'll take this 1-0 score to the third.
After two,
So these guys have wrestled David about almost 4 minutes, 3 minutes, 53 seconds neutral. And nobody scored a takedown. Now Lawrence will go on bottom. Actually, my math is wrong. It'd be almost 5 minutes neutral.
Again,
Good breakdown.
Campbell's, they're on top. They have a big mat advantage. And every single mat they had, and here on the whistle, you just double thigh pry, weight on his hands, and then chopped, got him broken down flat, and now he's working for his turn. Really impressed with Campbell on top so far in this dual meet. They've been they're very well coached, very disciplined on top, and it's made in these matches their top wrestling has made a big difference. You hear people talk about top wrestling and now it's dying and people aren't working hard. Watch this duel meet, right? Campbell, they're neutralizing matches by being tough on top, and which is something that I really like to see. And I think being tough on top is a massive neutralizer, not only in riding time, getting the guy tired, working for a turn, and the more you're working for turns, the more tired the guy's gonna get on bottom, and eventually your turns are gonna be there.
Say it one more time, David. Say it one more time. Absolutely, you take somebody's soul in the top position. That's where you break a guy.
Got a nice cradle here. He's gonna
try to rock him back.
He's gonna take it nice and slow, focus on getting that bottom knee in the side.
Here comes an ear fall.
This is a pinning combination here. If he can get his bottom knee and readjust it.
So the 4 near fall makes it 5-0. Riding time is locked up. Do you maybe cut him here?
I think these things are turning again.
Trying to turn him one more time for the major.
It's close. Quick little tilt, just real quick, just kind of throwing your knee underneath, get him in your lap. Think about just get him exposed for a quick 2 count. But top wrestling, another match here. Campbell, difference maker.
Levi Hopkins went to work on top in the 3rd. That was the difference. Gets the turn for 4. And with the riding time point, it's a 6-0 decision for the 27th ranked 197-pounder in the country.
Army 3.
So with that decision, Levi Hopkins and the Camels extend the team lead to 10. They lead it 13-3. Some 5s from his teammates and fans. Another look at the hangar here at Fort Liberty. Opened up then as Fort Bragg over 100 years ago in 1918. Here's some highlights, David. The quick escape in the 2nd period, 1-0. And then he goes to work on top. David Taylor, you know a thing about cradles.
The great equalizer. You can cradle somebody, you're never out of a match. Never out of a match. So, yeah, I just think so far, if you're watching from home and you're looking and don't think about necessarily, look what the scores of the match is, but I think just go back here and just focus. Even now moving forward, just every whistle start, think about the first 10 seconds and look at just that match right there, right? Just the difference of, when Campbell was down, got away right off the bat, then Army went down, tough ride, and then end up in a turn, and that was the difference. The match was tied, there were no takedowns, and that was where it was.
Time for the big guys at heavyweight. One of the best in the country, ready to toe the Resolite, Tay Gadiali.
And your next bout at 285 pounds from Campbell University, Tay Gadiali. And his opponent from Army, Lucas Stoddard.
Stoddard, a freshman from Burton, Ohio, won a state title at Berkshire, but a tough task against Tate Diesel, as they call him. Tay Gadiali, the redshirt senior out of Warren, Michigan. Warren Fitzgerald High School was a state champ as a senior in 2019. And this guy is showtime. Loves to be out here, lets it fly.
One thing I think that's really cool about this dual meet, being live on UFC Fight Pass, right? These kids, I think it's pretty easy right now to see that wrestling is the most efficient.
It is the discipline.
Yeah.
in MMA.
The discipline, right? It's the most efficient, right? It's controlling guys when you get a takedown. I mean, it's a great. You talk about cradles, right? I think wrestling and MMA is a big equalizer. And now, these kids get a chance to wrestle. Gives UFC Fight Pass fans an opportunity to see a sport competed that they don't get to see as often. You're used to seeing grappling, you're used to seeing the fights, but now they're kind of seeing wrestling. They're identifying, and then they also can start identifying these athletes before they decide they want to go fight. Earlier this week, Tay said he wants to fight. So okay, wow, okay, they can start identifying. Okay, Tay, great athlete, wrestler. I watched him in a dual meet on UFC Fight Pass. Now I can follow his career, and then maybe we're gonna see this guy in the octagon one day.
Saw that interview with John Morgan. He said, yeah, UFC definitely could be in his future plans. And how cool for a college kid to be on UFC Fight Pass. And one thing that's really cool, David, at the end, we're going to award somebody with the OW. It's a belt. Super cool.
Yeah, I mean, belt I think every combat athlete kind of understands what a belt means, and what it stands for. And I think just kind of getting a taste of that early and earning that by being an outstanding wrestler on a card that's being live streamed all over the world on UFC Fight Pass. It's a great opportunity for these kids.
Adiali with the cradle locked up.
Step over the bottom leg here. Get your chest up on top and step over the bottom leg. There we go. Yep, chest on top. Step over the bottom leg if you can.
And your winner by
And there's the first fall.
Ali. The team
Gotti
score,
Ali ranked
Campbell
15th in the country.
19, Army 3.
Two-time SoCon champion, three-time NCAA qualifier. Gets his season off to a great start. 6 more on the board for the Camels. Gets that inside cradle locked up, makes a good adjustment, gets the fall.
Get your chest up on top here. And what you did, and then now, fall's coming. Boom. I think that's exactly what you want to see, from Campbell's coaches. You want to see, one of your guys, one of your leaders go out there, and he's a guy on paper you think's gonna go out there and get a pin, go out there and get the pin. And good for Tay, right? Building your brand on UFC Fight Pass. He says he wants to go fight, goes out there. There's nothing better you can do like that. Got a little showmanship. Someone's watching. Like I say, they're identifying that guy and say, that's a guy I want later in his career.
I think you could pull that off. I like that look right there. You talk about some showmanship and some swagger. Look at this guy. Campbell wrestling fan. He's on the UFC Fight Pass.
There you go.
Maybe we'll see him someday. So we go from heavyweights to 125 pounds. Duel began at 157. And here's the matchup, the tail of the tape at 125.
Your next match at 125 pounds from Campbell University, Xander Fatouros. And his opponent from Army, Ethan Bergen.
This is the match, I kind of circled on paper, the match I'm most excited for. These are two boys from the Whippeal, right? Two Pennsylvania boys, Hemphill, Waynesburg. They've wrestled before and they were in high school as well. Both, Bergen was a state champion in Pennsylvania. Xander was a state placer, but I mean, you're coming out of the Whippeal, you're best in the country, right? You're battling with the best guys in the country. So these guys have wrestled before. I'm sure they grew up wrestling each other in clubs, and now they're wrestling on the college stage. Pretty cool. Shout out to the Whippeal for being one of the toughest areas, hotbeds of wrestling in the country, and now we got these two guys wrestling. And in my opinion, I think it's kind of the marquee match of the dual meet.
Bergen winning that state title at Jeanette High School.
Well, Jeanette was so small, they had a co-op, so he wrestled for Hemphill.
Okay.
Yeah, Hemphill's got a great program. Really good, always competitive. They're in the team state tournament every single year. Waynesburg's got a dominant program. These are two guys from really good programs, a lot of wrestling history.
And Fatouros began his high school career at Arizona, won a state title at Arizona, and then came to Waynesburg Central High School, placed at the state tournament, as you mentioned. And for Campbell, Anthony Moulton, they're expecting him back this season at 125.
Nice shot. Off the elbow. Nice
defense.
That was good. Nice, kind of felt it. The duck comment slid off right to his re-attack. And sometimes, even if you don't get the re-attack, if your opponent feels like you're going to run to a re-attack, you think twice about the leg attack that you're going to take. You're like, okay, well, I can't really just take this kind of half to my knee shot. Next time, I'm going to have to really dedicate or be able to recover quickly.
Collar tie right side there from the Campbell. Camel, Xander Futuros. Bergen last year, 27-8, had a really good year. Looking to score on the edge. Almost into the table, they go back to the center.
Almost saved you there. You weren't paying attention.
Bergen fourth at the EIWA Championships last year, was 0-2 in Tulsa at the national tournaments. 110 in the first, no score. This 125-pound weight class, David, up for grabs, in my opinion. Matt Ramos, national finalist for Purdue. He's ranked #1. Anthony Noto of Lock Haven ranked 2nd. Arizona State's Richie Figueroa. He'll be the man for the Sun Devils. He's ranked 3rd. Eddie Van Treska from Virginia Tech and Eric Barnett of Wisconsin rounding out the top 5 at 125. There's got to be 15, 20 kids in the country that really believe they can win it.
That was a nice leg attack. He covered a lot of ground. Again, kind of, if you can shelf the leg and then you grabbing that.
1 point red. Technical violation.
You know what, though? That might have been okay. I mean, that's 1 point. One's better than 3.
Yeah, it's twice now. Ethan's got on leg attacks here on the edge, and Xander's done a good job of neutralizing the score.
Short time here in the first. Bergen 1-0. Choice to the Black Knights.
I was talking to the coach earlier about Ethan, and they were saying, he's making really a jump this year. And I think getting the experience last year, and we were really excited for him as they get into the season. Doing a good job coming up, isolating, staying up on your feet. Sometimes just getting back to your feet. It's not always about fighting hands, as obviously it's super important. We're just hustling back to your feet, hustling back to your feet. Sometimes Thomas Gilman said at one time, I broke the guy from bottom. And at the time I remember kind of laughing at it. But there's an element that's true about it. If you just keep getting to your feet and making the top guy work, make the top guy work, make the top guy work. Eventually they kind of make that decision. I don't want to work that hard anymore. And same thing on their side, right? On top, Matt return him. Eventually make the decision. I don't want to fight that hard anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Take away hope, destroy will. 2-0 after that escape. Futuros, though, a solid job, able to ride him over 30 seconds. Inside of a minute now in this second period. Coach Ward said for Bergen, very business-like approach to the sport.
We good? All right. Okay.
Hey, drags are good. Snap drags. Start attacking now. Go get it. It's going to be a drag. You got to commit. Put your chest to it. Snap.
Half a minute left in the second. Campbell leading at 19-3. Got a pin from Gadi Ali at heavyweights. And a huge win from Chris Ernst to start things off at 157. Was down 6-2, came back to win at 9-6 in sudden victory. Front headlock here for the Camel. The hangar door is open, yet a little chilly.
After 2 periods, Ethan Bergen leads 2-0.
Reminds me of some of the matches they've wrestled Beat the Streets, where we wrestle outside Times Square, and it's similar like this, kind of cool. It's usually in May or April, early in the spring. It starts getting at night. It starts getting a little cold, but when you're competing, you don't really realize that. You're warmed up. You're just kind of focused on doing the next thing. More or less, the guys that are probably sitting maybe up in a couple matches, making sure they're getting a little extra warm up than what they had earlier, just to make sure they're nice and warm before they go out there and compete. That first period, mat grab, technical, it's playing a factor here. You take that away, it's 1-1, and nice, great attack. Getting back, shelving the legs. They never went exchange. They never gave the escape. So Bergen's still on top. One way or the other, it was still great wrestling. I could have easily gone one escape right into the takedown.
Yeah.
Just continue to hustle and finish on top. Oh boy.
And now he's got him set with the bats. And
it's good adjustments.
Paturo's fortunate to get off his back.
Typically don't want to Granby with guys at half. Kind of puts you in a tough position. That was a really good job by Bergen, just settling back. I think with this dual score, you'd want to probably see him maybe get a little more aggressive trying to pin him, but still really good momentum changer here for Army here. I think here, trying to really go get this takedown, get a major decision, really trying to shift this momentum back, and also just like feeling like you leave here just kind of solidifying yourself as major decision. Winning by 8 points, that's
double unders here for Paturos. Hunting ahead. This is going to be a 6-1 final.
And your winner by decision from the Army, Ethan Bergen. Your team score
gets
and
W.
19, Army 6.
That's a good match, good scrap.
It was. Army needed that one. That was a good job by Bergen. Good third period. That was really, I think, maybe the first match we've seen where Army had the advantage on the mat, and instead of finding those back points, put them in position to get a major at the end.
Some of the highlights of this match at 125. Hunting down a leg.
This is where he grabs the mat. And, at the time, it played a big factor in that third period. Just score-wise, didn't really at the end of the match, but here Graham went to half, put himself in some trouble. That was a good job. Settling back and getting the back points.
Ethan Bergen, the second win in the dual meet for Army. 19-6, the Campbells lead it. CFFC Match Day. Here on UFC Fight Pass. And we'll be right back at it on Sunday. We'll go to Ohio, the home of David Carr. Carr and his Cyclone teammates, 10th ranked Iowa State against Cleveland State. We'll see these Camels against Wyoming. That's going to be a fun one. That's going to be like in a barn. That'll be a cool venue. Wisconsin, Iowa State in Humboldt, Iowa. That is the home of head coach Kevin Dresser of Iowa State. And then right before Christmas, Campbell, Purdue, Stanford, North Dakota State. Back here in North Carolina, Bowie's Creek. That is where Campbell is. So some great wrestling the next 6 weeks here on UFC Fight Pass.
This Campbell team is scrappy. They're going to be fun to watch. This is going to be a good team to be watching a few more times on UFC Fight Pass. So make sure you guys are tuning in and watching, and it'll be fun to watch these guys progress, right? We get to see them here at the first duel of the season, and then you kind of follow them as they're progressing through the year.
At 133 pounds for Campbell University, Tom Zacconi. And his opponent from Army, Braden Basil.
Go tell that long-tongued liar, go and tell that midnight rider,
133 pounds. Now Zacconi, the redshirt senior from Orland Park, Illinois, was a 3-time Illinois State Place winner. Braden Basil, a freshman from sunny Tampa, Florida. Tampa Jesuit High School, was a 3-time state champ.
Nice shot.
Talk about a great shot off the whistle. Less than 5 seconds in, Zacconi with a takedown. We both love that, David.
And working hard on top, right into his half series. He's doing a good job pinching with his knees. He's already attacking both sides of the body. Campbell, very, very well coached on top. They're doing a really good job. It's going to be a big difference maker for them, you know, as the season goes on.
Zacconi, the quick 2-0 lead. 2-time NCAA qualifier. Been third the last 2 seasons at the SoCon tournament. Over 20 wins last year, finishing 21-7 for head coach Scott Sentes. Gets that takedown, builds his riding time. That return attacker on the edge. Basil on the board with an escape. First dual meets for Basil in that Army singlets. Looking for a second takedown, double leg, gets him in the air, puts him down, points him for 3 more, 6-1.
Really good start to the period here.
Stalemate.
Zacconi was doing a really good job in this little half series he's running, where he's looking to try to sit him into the crab ride, and he's looking to change over the opposite side. Doing a really good job threatening him. This time he's not really working that hard to go back to his feet. But I'd like to see him, as the match goes on, continue to work in that situation. If he could sit him more upright, where, because a lot of times when you're just trying to roll the guy around, Basil is able to kind of keep his knees to his chest. If he can more sit him upright, he can start to extend him and then start extending him for his back points.
Nice 115, looking for another takedown. No takedown awarded yet. And there it is. Third takedown, slides that half Nelson in once again.
So here, if he can start extending him a little bit more and then sitting him upright, I think it'll give him a little better chance to execute this turn here. Hey, right into a tilt, get your bottom knee to the ceiling, back into his half.
Zacconi showing his strengths on his feet and on the mat as well. And I got to believe with 40 seconds left, he'll be hunting down takedown number 4 in the period. Inside a half a minute. Measures up. Good shot and recovery. Counter attack and out of bounds. Down Zacconi, 3 takedowns and a 9-3 lead. He's up by 6 to the second. He's got the choice, he'll defer. Basil takes a look at his corner and he'll go on bottom. Riding time, 1:22 already for Zacconi.
He's got it. You gotta sit him in the chair if you can. When you get that wrist up on your feet, your elbow kind of scoops on the inside of the thigh, and you think about just sitting the guy into a chair, and that kind of puts you right in that tilt position, and it just sags on that front leg. He was close to it, real close. Looks like he's kind of starting to slow his pace down a little bit. He came out obviously with a furious pace. It's kind of crazy with 3-point takedowns. You know, it's after what we did so far, and Basil gets takedowns 9-7. You know, it's just a kind of reaffirming.
You're never safe, right? I mean, you got to keep wrestling.
Well, you're safe if you just keep scoring points. You know,
exactly.
You're safe if you keep scoring points. But I think it's just, you know, if you're watching, you're like, man, I feel like this match has been really dominant one way or the other. But a takedown, it's 9-7. So you just with these 3-point takedowns, you're really never out of a match. You're just always thinking 2 takedowns. You know, takedown, cut them, takedown. So that's 5 points. It's a 5 points. You know, closing the gap. So it's I'm interested to see in a match where there's a real firefight back and forth. You know, maybe a guy gets out some early lead and just seeing, you know, guys could make some pretty impressive comebacks. Just kind of just feeling like they're never out of it.
I mean, we saw one to begin this dual meet at 157 with Chris Ernst, who was down 6-2, wins it 9-6 in sudden victory.
Yeah.
Switches direction. Stays on him like a dog on the bone to Zacconi. Front trip. Good fight here from Basil. Extra shove out of bounds.
That's it.
1 point, Zacconi.
That's going to be a point to Zacconi.
That's good wrestling. Not great finishing. Really good wrestling by Basil. Just not giving up. And you just love to see that, right? I mean, okay, so first period didn't really go the way we wanted it to go, but he didn't put his head down. He didn't give up. He's fighting this entire time, and he's still right here in the mix in this match. He's gonna have to go get a takedown. He's gonna go get a couple takedowns, but you know, you really like to see the guy continue to wrestle hard.
Yeah, he fights. That last sequence,
it's been easy. He could have given up takedowns 2 or 3 different times in that sequence, you know. And he's done a good adjustment here as he started ripping this 2-on-1 and really kind of slowing him down. A 2-on-1 can be really frustrating. You know, obviously if you're kind of on the offense and the guy starts tying you up, I think, you know, if he's getting this 2-on-1, start looking to maybe drag him to the ground or maybe look to post the opposite side. You're trying to sneak a takedown here early in this period and really kind of put himself back into it.
he's got 90 seconds to work with. If you're Zacconi right now, and you want to get that major decision, you came out really quick. Works off an underhook. Good movement right here. Reaches across.
Good scramble. Nice job again, just not giving up. It's awesome. I just really like to see that kind of wrestling. It's easy to just kind of give up there. He's going to get the takedown here.
And he's got the takedown. It's 10-7 now. He'll cut him 11-7.
You got to go. You got to wrestle like you're down 2 takedowns here. I think that's just, you know, that urgency component.
Riding time seconds away from being locked up for Zacconi.
You got to pull him all the way in. Pull him all the way into the center. Don't just sit here on the edge. Pull him all the way into the center. Coaches are kind of yelling that.
Riding time is locked up. So Basil,
after all this,
essentially trails it by 5.
27 seconds left, 2 takedowns.
Now you got to go feet to back probably, and that's going to be a tall task. You know, situation here with Basil, you're going to lose the match, but you got some things you can feel good about and build on. And on the flip side, Zacconi, yeah, you win the match, and that's fine, but I think you probably had a little bit more in the tank.
3 takedown Basil.
So Basil gets a late takedown with the riding time. It's going to be 12-10. So these two combined to put more than 20 on the board. An exciting bout at 133 pounds.
Zacconi came out firing. Throughout the entire match, even late in the match, he was executing really good techniques. He just wasn't finishing, you know. And I think, you know, from the outside, it looks like maybe that's a drilling habit, right? A lot of times you see that maybe in practice he's hitting the really good techniques, maybe he's not executing the takedowns all the way through, and it kind of shows in a match like that. And then Basil he just didn't stop fighting, you know, and that pumps me up. I like to see that, man. You're getting kind of get blown out of the water in the first period, and you put yourself in a position to win the match at the end. So hey, okay, looking forward, we got to be a little more focused early in that period, but way to finish strong. You can rally around that. You can kind of, it's a really easy thing to build around. You know, effort, fight, something that you can never really replace. So, you know, overall, both guys have some really positives to get out of that, and both guys get some things to work out of that. And that's, you know, what you would probably expect when you see the first match of the season.
So Zacconi prevails at 133 pounds as the Camels extend their lead to 22-6 over the Army. 2 more matches to go, 141 and 149. Rivera and Keel set to clash at 141.
Our next bout at 141 pounds from Campbell University, Chris Rivera.
The Holy Spirit led me to peace and joy to prosper through the storm. They worship the glamour off your roster. If they follow that, you couldn't be for real. All time is now.
And his opponent from the Army, Zach Keel.
Zach Keel, a junior from Shawnee, Kansas. Mill Valley High School won a state championship, was a Fargo All-American. And for Keel, this is just the second dual meet of his career. 12-6 last season in opens.
Oh, ripping the headlock.
Look at this.
Nice. Nothing gets your blood pumping more than getting headlocked right off the. Whoa. Okay.
You ever been headlocked?
Yeah.
Who's got the best headlock you've ever felt?
I got pinned in the headlock a couple of times. So those are pretty good. Tyler Cox from Wyoming. I was in the finals of Fargo, and I was up by 9 in the first period trying to slide, but I got headlocked and pinned.
Really?
Yeah. Thanks for bringing that one up, Shane. Appreciate that.
He's a good wrestler. Wrestled at Wyoming.
What's that?
Right? You wrestled
Yeah.
at Wyoming, yeah.
Yeah. I was from Wyoming, and I moved.
Oh,
to
man, that
Ohio.
would really stung.
Yeah, I got just. It was a nice.
So, I mean, Tyler Cox is one of these guys talking with the buddies like, yeah, I mean, Olympic champion, 3-time world champ. I threw him in a headlock. It was that simple.
If these guys want to beat him, they just got to throw him in a headlock. They got to go back and watch that film. Yeah. Headlock's kryptonite.
No score, 60 seconds into this first period at 141. Back to our feet. Chris Rivera, redshirt junior. Orlando, Florida, wrestled at Lake Highland Prep, was a 4-time state champion. Last season was at 149, where he was third at the SoCon Championships because he couldn't beat Shannon Hanna at 141. Hanna, the SoCon champ last year at 141, and the NCAA qualifier, is redshirting this season. Going to try to make an Olympic team for the Bahamas. So with that, Rivera down to his more better weight at 141.
Lake Highland Prep has a good high school program.
Yeah, they do.
Similar to Malvern Prep, right? They get to all the tough tournaments. So being from Florida, they travel. They're at all the best tournaments. Their head coach travels with them all the time, and we would probably expect a kid coming out of that program to be pretty well-rounded because they've been pretty battle-tested.
2 minutes have passed in this first. 0-0. Tell me if you think I'm nuts, David.
Probably.
You want to know another call I'd like to see? Not that we need any more counts in wrestling. The ear-to-ear, forehead-to-forehead stuff. Like, if you're there for more than 5 seconds, what do you think?
You might as well penalize someone for grabbing a wrist.
Are you? I mean, that's what do you think about?
I think it'd be hard to enforce. I'm a collar tie guy. I'm in a collar tie all the time.
But you don't sit there for long. I mean,
I try not to. Collar tie is effective. Yeah, I mean, I think that the more, when you're trying to put rules and more rules and more, it just.
And I just say that tongue in cheek. Yeah. My point being is, if you're going to get to that collar tie, you better not be there that long. Use it and go.
Just got to rip a headlock.
Rip a headlock, exactly. That's good. Tyler Cox with a headlock. Scoreless first period. Keel with the choice. Defers to the Campbell, and Rivera will go on bottom.
Let's take a look at this first 10 seconds here and see kind of what the attitudes look like for both competitors.
Quick stand-up off the whistle. Keel looking for a mat return.
Did a good job, right? He's kind of fighting through those. Those are you're right at 10 seconds, right? So we'll see kind of what's his next whistle start look like, and just every 10 seconds.
Build.
Now if he gets that mat return in the middle of the mat, it's different, right? But even taking the guy to the edge and getting the return on the edge is, it's a lot better than just letting the guy go.
Another quick stand-up off the whistle from Rivera, trying to fight hands. Keel gets in that return, and Rivera pops right back up. Good wrestling on both sides.
Yeah, I mean, so he committed on 2 starts, right? So we're 20 seconds in that period, committed on 2 starts, and I think, you know, moving forward, okay, you got to continue to commit on top. I think that's the biggest thing. You got to make up your mind. You got to commit on top. You know, you can't be half committed and think you're going to ride somebody. Same thing when you take bottom, you got to be committed to get off the bottom. If you got to get to your feet, if it's creating a reversal, creating a scramble, kind of knowing what your system is, and wrestling within that system. But you know, just on your feet, same thing. You know, we're talking, you know, just jokingly talking about the forehead-to-forehead thing. A lot of times you see guys hanging there because they're just not committing to something.
Yes.
Right? We're just like, it's a safe position to be in. And I think in wrestling, you just always want to make someone feel a little threatened. You don't have to threaten them constantly the entire time with big moves, but you're just always making them feel a little bit uncomfortable. You know, so it's like moving their head, snapping their wrist. You know, okay, underhook, leg attack. Okay, well, maybe the big underhook doesn't score, but you're following it up. And then, okay, that was a nice exchange. Let's get back to it. Let's make the guy react again. A lot of times you see an exchange like that, and then it's back to hanging in a collar tie. So I think that's just a little more, you know, wrestling-centric across the board. But if you can just always make your opponent reacting, then you're not really sitting in one tie-up too long.
I always watch guys' feet too. I think the feet tell the story too. If you just watched, you know, from the knees down, got a pretty good idea what kind of action's taking place.
I remember one time I was having some difficulty getting my opponents getting some takedowns and stuff, and I was talking to Coach Campbell, and he's like, well, you know what? The thing that's going to make a guy react is making him feel like you're going to score. You know, it's like, that's really simple. You know, but it's true. You know, yeah, if he's really thinking I'm going to score, then he's going to react more. If I'm just going through the motions on my feet, then, you know, why would they react any differently? So a lot of times in college wrestling, I think you just see guys kind of stand in, waiting. And when I'm competing, I try my best to always keep my opponent reacting.
Good work there from Keel on bottom to tie the match up 1-1. Quick escape.
That was one of the first Campbell guys we've seen not really commit on top. You know, it's been a big difference maker for them so far.
.90 seconds left in the third. Heel inside tie on the right side, collar tie left.
Minute left in the match. You know, this is something that is talked about every single day in practice, from the time you start in your very first elementary practice to, you know, probably the practice in their warm-up. You know, it's like, what's your go-to takedown with the minute left? Tied match. What are you going to do to go score? You know, both guys right now, what's your go-to takedown? Okay, you're both a little bit tired. You know, you're 6 minutes into this match. Takedown's going to win this match. So what is that takedown, right? And just kind of momentum. Like, I like to see the Army wrestler first one back to the center. You know, if you're going to take a break in the center. And here, moving forward, now we're at 45 seconds left. It's going to be takedown, re-attack, 2 takedowns in a row, maybe a scramble. But, you know, you kind of just go decide right now, I want to go get this takedown, and just go get it. Go get your hands locked and finish takedown. Sometimes it sounds simple, but at this point, it doesn't need to be super fancy. It just needs to be effective.
1-1, 20 seconds left here in the third period. Final seconds, stalemate whistled.
Army.
The body language, David. You look at Keel, he's right back to the center. Rivera with a slow walk back to the middle.
Body language is everything.
It screams.
We're tied after
confidence
3.
builder.
You know, even right now, Keel's body language, he looks ready to go. So 2 minutes sudden victory.
Keel's really pushing the pace. Just want to be careful not over pushing, right, where you start standing up too far in your stance and being susceptible to a leg attack. Keep the pressure on him, but be disciplined in your stance when you're pushing. But it's definitely wearing on. It's definitely wearing on Rivera.
Keel's doing a nice job not allowing Rivera to get to that underhook on the right side.
Yeah. Rivera looks to me like he's looking for a counterattack, or he's going to get single leg.
Here's Rivera, and he gets The takedown and the victory in center
Your
victory.
winner by decision,
Chris Rivera.
Just
Your
committed,
score,
got 2 hands to leg, built
Campbell,
up, got the
Army
takedown in
6.
overtime. Nice job.
Got it done. Another W in the column for the Camels. Another look at that takedown, David. Looked like he was a little bit sluggish, but found another gear here.
That was nice. He was leading his left leg. He's leading his left leg. He did a lead switch to his right leg, right hand swing into a takedown. Kind of lulled him to sleep. It looked like he kind of had the demeanor like he's looking for a re-attack. He's kind of backing up, change his lead, right hand leg attack, just quick finish. You know, it's just really good job. But it's one of those things you're like, you could have done that 7 minutes ago. You know, maybe you make up your mind, but you know, it's he made up his mind when he got the takedown and leaves here, you know, with that first win of the season. A nice job. But I think Keel did a lot of really good stuff in that match. He wrestled hard. It just got a little, you know, you just wrestled hard, just kind of lost focus there for a second. Kind of talked about that. He started stance getting a little tall, maybe chasing him, and gave up that leg attack. So just experience and you know, a little more match time.
Campbell leading at 25-6. Our final match in this duel comes at 149 pounds.
At 149 pounds from Campbell University, Justin Rivera.
So-called pastors and self-proclaimed magicians, Satan kingdom they marrying. How you gonna sell me a handkerchief for 100 piece? How you gonna teach me the gift that the Spirit put in me? How you gonna take the place?
And his opponent from Army, Trey McDaniel.
Final match. This is Justin Rivera, twin brother of Chris. Set of brothers and another set of twins on the team for Campbell. Trey McDaniel ranked 30th in the country, the sophomore from Cleveland, Tennessee. 4-time finalist, 3-time Tennessee state champion, was a 4-time All-American at Fargo, over 30 wins last year, 32-11, 4th at the EIWA tournaments. Army was 6th as a team. Of course, Cornell winning the title. The Big Red then taking home a trophy in Tulsa. Good action on the edge. There's a stall call on Rivera, backing up. Rivera, 4-time Florida state placer, won a couple of state titles at Lake Island Prep. And Coach Sentis is really excited about Rivera, who was behind Josh Heil. 16-1, mainly in open tournaments in his career. Didn't compete last year because he had an injury. So they are excited to see what kind of season he can put together. He's scoreless here with McDaniel halfway through the first period. North Carolina State and Presbyterian to follow. We'll have that one right here on UFC Fight Pass.
Daniel's doing a pretty good job here, just kind of keeping the pressure on him, but he's kind of getting the pressure that he's releasing. He's getting the pressure and he's standing up in his stance. It kind of gives him, you know, you just kind of want to keep that constant pressure. We're moving forward, just basic stance of motion, right? We were kind of matching head level, we were moving forward. And that pressure, even if you're not scoring, can really kind of wear on your opponent. But if you're kind of attacking them, but then you pull out, you attack and you stand up, you kind of give your opponent a chance to breathe also, you know? So I think nice leg attack, good high C, cover ground, hide your feet on your finish. That was a good takedown. You know, it just in this so far in this dual meet, you know, it's just you know, obviously a lot of really competitive matches, and you didn't really see a lot of takedowns that were, you know, slick things. A lot of them were just one guy decided, I'm going to go cover ground and get this takedown, right? And it sounds so simple, but a lot of times you just got to make up your mind. A couple times a period that you're going to go really, go get that high crotch, go get that single leg, get your hands locked, give yourself a really good chance to score.
Gets that three-point takedown, takes riding time over 30 seconds, finishes the period on top. Great period for McDaniel. Rivera defers, McDaniel will go on bottom. Just doing a really nice job here, David. You know, all those important things to win matches. Here's a quick escape, part of that formula. Extends his lead now up 4-0. And of course, if you're McDaniel, got to be thinking feet on the gas, keep attacking, long way to go.
Yeah, definitely. I think just, yeah, we're trying to win matches, definitely. You know, if you're Army, you're trying to win matches. You're trying to win dual meet, absolutely. But also you're trying to establish, you kind of build your reputation, right? You want to kind of build that reputation. You're ranked 31st in the country right now, 30th in the country, and you know, you get a chance to win by a major decision and get your season started off strong. You want to do that, so go score and keep scoring. He's done a good job of staying on the offense, just staying on the offense.
Campbell, a runner-up to Appalachian State last year in the SoCon. Is Rivera in on a shot?
Good scramble.
Getting that three-point takedown to be right back into this match.
His brother that matched before hit a right-hand swing. He came out, hit a left-hand swing. Nice, you know, obviously those are takedowns that these brothers have probably drilled many times in their basement, probably with each other. Very similar style. Those are nice leg attacks. Got to make it count when you get your hands locked.
Still 4-0. 35 seconds, second period. So good start here for Campbell. Inside of 30 ticks in the second. Another shot there from Rivera. Stuffed into a front headlock.
Probably look for Rivera here to look for those swing singles one way or the other way. There is, right there.
Shot below the knee.
Get up, gonna have to get up, gonna have to get above the knee so the referee doesn't call potentially dangerous.
Stalemate.
He's gonna have to get two of those here with a minute left. First one gives him a chance, second one to win it. McDaniel can just kind of change his demeanor, kind of start to shut it down. He can still go ice this match, go get this takedown finish on top.
Yeah, get a takedown, maybe get that riding time over a minute, get a major decision.
Yep.
55 seconds, long way to go.
Yeah, these three-point takedowns, I mean, it's just different. And I think these athletes are gonna have to spend a little more time, you know, obviously more competitions. maybe more practice experience where you're really utilizing those scoring and how the three-point takedowns can keep you in matches, but also how can they extend and build your lead also. Got to shelf the leg here, get up on the shelf. Now we're back in the scramble. It's a couple times now he's been in these leg attacks and has just kind of left his feet behind, and that's, you know, maybe the difference between 1, 2, or even 3 takedowns in this match. And McDaniel's done a good job of finishing on top. You know, you don't want to finish these tough matches, close matches on top, and did a good job. Good way to finish out the dual meet for Army. Getting a win here, finishing out.
Trey McDaniel at 149. 7-0 decision.
Your winner by decision.
And he is the third Black Knight to get his arm
Your
raised.
final team score.
Here at
Campbell
Fort
University,
Liberty.
25, Army 9.
25-9 the final score as Campbell defeats Army. North Carolina State and Presbyterian will have them at 7:05. Fun dual meet to kick things off. As Campbell wins 7 of the 10 matches. 25-9 final. David, very good in those upper weights. Some highlights will begin at 184 pounds.
Nice job getting his hands locked here and building up. You know, Hopkins did a really good job in this match. He finished crackdown on both sides of the body. So here he finishes at the end of the match. It's a close match. He gets, gets called for stalling here, but at the end, close match. Gets a high crouching opposite side, cracks it down, finishes it, ices the match. He did a good job. He finished both sides there. And then here at heavyweight, you know, we got Tay. He kind of went out there and just did what he did. Showman goes out there. They expect to get the pin, gets the pin. Pumps up his crowd. You know, obviously had a little showmanship. It was a great job by him. And here at 133, you know, Zaccone Company really came out firing. Really electric first period, scoring a lot of points. Take down the first couple of seconds, stayed offensive. But as the match went on, he kind of started to wear down. And you know, Basil started to get back in. You know, here this is still early in the match. You know, this takedown put him close to a major decision. And then as the match went on, this is still first period scores. So I mean, he was close. And then as the match goes on, you know, Basil kind of refocuses and makes it a really competitive match. And overall, great dual meet. Yep, and then
Here with Campbell head coach Scott Sentis. You guys win 7 of the 10 matches, 25-9. Good start. He came out with some really good energy. What stood out to you in the performance?
Man, I was really happy with our mat wrestle, and I thought we got after it pretty hard. It's not easy to get on a military base and take down the Army.
I got to ask you about Chris Ernst. True freshman at 157. You and I talked last week and you said, Shane, this guy's got some special tools in the toolbox. Down 6-2, rallies back in sudden victory. Tremendous poise. Thoughts on him?
I think if you're watching him across the country, don't choose bottom.
Congratulations on the win. Let's go to the big guy. They call him Tay Diesel. Tay Gadiali, one of the best heavyweights, ranked 15th in the country. You like the idea of being on UFC Fight Pass. That might be part of your future plans. You came out and put on a show. You get the fall. How exciting to kick off the season in that manner.
I'm just excited to come out here, represent Campbell. I haven't really got on the mat in a while, so just to see where I'm at, I'm just excited just for the season and just ready to go.
Well, you'll really like this. Rob Haydack is going to present you with the match day belts. Tay Gadiali, the heavyweight from Campbell.